Connacht 26, Benetton 15. Tries Ioane Naughton on debut. Tierney Martin, Janssen forward with a couple of kicks. Sam Elo impressed in the pack, came up from Leinster. Defensively, we all know their problems the last couple of years. Stuart Lancaster is in there now, will be working. One of the coaches, probably the last coaches are at the moment anyway, that is sort of specifics on both sides of the ball. Did you feel they would beat Benetton? But you actually like Benetton, so was it one of those games you didn't think Benetton were that good, or was it Connacht and Connacht were there for the fight and the physicality?
Yeah, I think they were so loose at times last year, and tactically, you know they've built a great reputation around their attack, but not around their defence. So I think it's very obvious that that's what they need to fix this year and get be a hard team to score against, because they have some cutting edge. They have some very, very good young players. I thought Josh Ioane was outstanding until he went off. It was very unfortunate for him to go off. He scores the first try. He makes the second one. He's a superb player, and when he gets front foot ball like that, and he can be very, very effective. And I think it's about confidence. You even hear about Jack Carty, how he's enjoying working with Stuart. And so it's about getting them confident. Ultimately, their forwards have got to deliver. I think they stepped up last weekend, and they were against a big pack, and they were quite physical and defensively very, very strong. So lots of positives for them to take, and I think that's probably the most pleasing thing for them, the way they defended, because this game was quite close. Ratave nearly scores in the corner when it's 19-8.
He's a poacher.
So there wasn't a lot in this game at times, and they had to dig in, Connacht, and then they responded kind of in that second half and got the extra couple of tries from the last one from Janssen. I think they scored from Dylan Terry Martin after half time, but the one at the end gives them that little bit of comfort to see it home. So it was it was impressive. Would you rather see a team go out and score 5-6 tries and concede 3 or 4? I'd rather score 2 or 3 and be miserly in what you give up. The way the game is gone, and a team like Benetton, it's hard to restrict them, and they had some great opportunities, but I think the defensive effort was really good, and that's the challenge for them, to try and be a hard team to score against, because look, you can't look too far ahead here, Stuart. Ultimately, it's a long season. To manoeuvre your way through 18 league games and get the balance right, and rotate your squad a little bit here, it can be tricky, particularly when you go into the depth chart and you pick up a couple of injuries. So far so good for Munster, Ulster and Connacht as regards the teams we'd be concerned about, question marks about. I think the Leinster stuff will sort itself out. I think they'll be a lot better this week. Will it be enough to beat the Bulls? I don't know. But I think the other three, from where they're at, the level they're at, we know that there's a little bit unknown. Can they propel themselves up a little bit? Can they kind of push into those playoff places and be a threat there? Well, that's what you want, I think, with Stuart Lancaster. He'll be looking for that improvement week on week. Richie Murphy, the same. And that's what I'm saying, going to Edinburgh, even though it's very early, they need to kind of be targeting something out of that game and come away with being beaten by a really good side, not beating themselves, and they've got to find an 80-minute performance over there. So it was a good start for them. I think Connacht at home with the Scarlets this week they've a little bit, having first two games at home is a great way to start. It brings its own pressure as regards trying to get a result, and Munster home to Cardiff as well. So I think it was a good weekend. I wouldn't be overly concerned. I think that the big talking point was Leinster, obviously.
With Connacht, physicality and mindset, can you teach that? I always listen to ex-pros like yourself, and someone says they've conceded loads of tries, their defence not good,
if
and
you
then
want to get a heavier,
the season later, they're up making big shots, and you're sort of thinking, is that not, as a professional, a given?
If you don't have the biggest pack of forwards in the world, which they still have a decent size pack, Connacht, but they wouldn't be the biggest, and particularly the South African teams, obviously, they're at the top end of that physicality and size. And it's not just about size, it's been having physical players. The competitiveness is second to none. Hurley Langton and Boyle, Janssen, very physical players, very aggressive players, and real good footballers as well. The Murray brothers in the second row, really athletic guys, but you want to see a bit of bruising going on up front. You know what I mean?
Paul Boyle.
Yeah, Boyle was very good and very, very powerful, but it's bringing it every week. Not a kind of a nastiness that's false, but just a dominance and a ruthlessness around what your set piece and your maul and things like that and your breakdown. So they need to be better at that. You can't, if you want to get a bigger, everyone would love a big heavy pack of forwards and big second rows and bruising, ball carriers up front. They weren't able to bring in a load of forwards this year, and you can't just put 20 kilos on a player and want him to be bigger. But how do you become more physical? It's a collective thing. It's the simplicity of, as a back row forward where I played, are you focused 100% at that scrum to give your tight head or your loose head all that power and pressure that you have within your body? Or do you switch off, or you've kind of 50% watching the break of a scrum half or whatever? Are the second rows, have the incredible pride in what to do? And this is just for any team. Mm. And that's where you talk about standards. So if you want to become more physical, it's not about individuals, pushing and shoving guys. It's about a collective of a kind of a ruthlessness around what you do and setting a really good standard. So that's down to coaching as well. And that's down to... and
that'll be... Stuart Lancaster, as we know, the start of his blueprint.
Yeah, the head coach of any of the teams, that's what they want, and they'll demand that from their forwards coach, their defence coach, their attack coach, certain elements of it. That's why they are the head coaches. So, and I think, Connacht are a team that, need to provide a really good platform, because when you get Hansen back and Bundy Aki and you're adding a bit more. I thought Sean Naughton was superb at fullback, very exciting young player. So
Naughton, not Naughton, as I said earlier.
And then have you, Gavin, they've Finn Tracy, Bolton. I think he's someone who can kick on and play for Ireland more. Hard to judge him on what he did against Portugal because they were very poor, but he's someone who I think has a future with Ireland if he stays fit. So. Plenty of positives there from the start, but again, it's a long race, isn't it? And it's there's so many games throughout the season that they've to work their way through. But I think he'd be pleased by that.